Senatorial preening and fireworks at a Supreme Court confirmation hearing? Now I've heard everything. I'm as shocked as you are. The nominee, Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson, today testifying on day 3 of her hearings. And she said the separation of powers is one of the most important parts of the Constitution. Watch.
The separation of powers is crucial to liberty. It is what our country is founded on, and it's important, as consistent with my judicial methodology, for each branch to operate within their own sphere. That means for me that judges can't make law. Judges shouldn't be policymakers.
Republican senators continued challenging Judge Jackson on her criminal sentencing record, but in the middle of it all, Texas Senator Ted Cruz, he's not in Mexico, he's in Washington. He got into a spat with Senate Judiciary Chair Dick Durbin.
Chairman Durbin, I've never seen the chairman refuse to allow a witness to answer a question. You can bang it as loud as you want.
Well, I can just tell you, at some point you have to follow the rules.
Okay, will you let her answer the question?
Remember when Democrats were interrupting Chairman Grassley and he's like, stop it, I'm losing patience. Democrats are hoping to finish the hearings tomorrow. How will this play out? What does it mean to play us out? And is this more about the nominee or more about the senators who hope to be president? Joining me now, former assistant U.S. attorney, a fantastic columnist for the National Review, Fox News contributor, Andy McCarthy is back. Welcome back, Andy.
Hey, Kennedy, how are you?
I'm good. I find all of this to be very fascinating because it's a fun game of gotcha and deflect, and I feel like I've been to this rodeo before. Judge Brown Jackson, obviously, you know, she throws a bone here or there of the originalist variety to conservatives and libertarians, but is it possible to really get a true glimpse of that judicial philosophy that she is constantly deflecting to talk about her methodology? And methodology is obviously so much more tame.
Right. Well, you know, look, I think one thing she's right about is that she does have a record, and I would pay a lot more attention to her record and the legal opinions that she's written than what she's saying in her testimony. I keep having to remind myself, not just everybody else, but myself, that a confirmation hearing is not a contract. Nothing she says, she can sound like Justice Scalia. It makes me go over the moon when she sounds like Justice Scalia. But the problem is nothing she says about that is enforceable. And, you know, once she gets on the court and she votes like Justice Breyer and Justice Sotomayor, you don't get to call her back because of what she said at the confirmation hearing. So I wouldn't put too much stock in that. And on the Republican side, I think you're quite right that a lot of this has to do with the guys who want to run for president. I think they realize they can count to 51. They know they don't have the votes to stop her from being confirmed. So they've turned this into something of a show where they homed in on something they thought would, you know, be red meat for the base, which is this child pornography sentencing stuff. And that's what they've homed in on. I would hope that if they thought they had a chance to defeat her nomination, they would have gone about it a little more strategically.
Well, they haven't talked about her junior prom night yet, and whew, when that comes up, the public defender.
They did ask her if she likes beer.
They had
or maybe
to.
they told her they wouldn't ask her that.
Rule.
I don't know.
Yeah, no, you have to. There has to be something in there. Otherwise, people get very, very bored. But of the progressive nominees that this president was obviously going to put up, she's not the worst, is she?
I don't, you know, she's going to be a reliable progressive. I have to say, Kennedy, that watching her testimony after I waded through some of her opinions, which I thought a couple of them were really rants, I've actually been impressed with her testimony. I don't agree with a lot of the things that she says and a lot of the things that she thinks. But I do think that she's a linear thinker. She's obviously got a mastery of the law. These have been very hard days. She was at it for about 13 hours yesterday, and she was as good answering the questions late in the evening as she was early in the morning. So, there's nothing wrong with her intellect, and she seems like a very nice person, but she's going to be a reliable progressive on the court.
Yeah, my neighbor Pam is a really nice person, but I don't think she should be a Supreme Court justice. I have been impressed with Judge Brown Jackson, and if they for some reason turfed her nomination, Biden would just put up Kamala Harris, and that would be a disaster. Although I would love to watch the vice president wilt under this sort of senatorial grilling. That probably won't be anytime soon. Andy McCarthy, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, Kennedy.
Always.